Hey, what's going on, guys? Roaring Turkey here. Welcome back to the channel. We got a small rules update today following the release of Gothic that we're going to dive into. Not many changes, but they're pretty big, relevant to the format that we're seeing. So we're going to get into it. I'm not going to read everything as is, but just to cover a few points that we see in the intro here. They normally have handled card changes using treat card as on Curiosa, and that was mostly for competitive minded players and not for like kitchen table stuff. But these changes are official card updates across all types of play, and that they're saying that card updates in Sorcery are rare because the game is built on top-down design where art, flavor, and mechanics all serve a shared vision. These updates aren't about rewriting a card's story, but preserving its spirit. We're going to get into it here with the Druid. So it's no small thing to update an avatar. They're essential to the realm, anchors of identity that shape the very stories we tell. Typically, we prefer to meet power with counterplay, designing new cards to challenge strong archetypes rather than changing them directly. I'll be honest, I'm not even a big fan of this approach, to be honest, because while counterplay is important, I don't think that like you should need to have every answer to every problem in your deck. I think things should just kind of be like balanced in a sense so that you can just overcome something with good cards yourself, but that's not the topic of this video. Gothic expanding into the realm, we've already introduced tools to counter powerful strategies such as Archimago's Cemetery Recursion. The Druid, however, proved a unique challenge. Its versatility meant that any targeted countermeasures risked harming other decks instead, and so rather than uproot the forest, we're trimming a few branches. The Tawny loop has been clipped. So there were no changes mentioned here, but this is kind of the preamble that we're looking at Druid changes. While infinite Tawny sacrifices are certainly a hoot, some classic chase comedy right there, trademark, love it. It isn't exactly part of the natural order. The front side of the Druid is being updated to read, if this is your first turn, summon Tawny here. You'll still gain your Tawny early, but now you'll need to choose the perfect moment to send it soaring for that key lava flow or snowball. We'll just read the second part too and we'll go over both of these together. Thorns stay close to home. Previously, the Druid's thorny aura could lock opposing avatars in place, turning tense duels into tangled stalemates. Now those thorns only grow on allied sites, while the backside of Druid updated to read, nearby allied sites have, whenever an enemy enters here, it takes 1 damage. You can still defend your territory and drag intruders through your own bramble patch, but the realm breathes easier when the vines stay rooted where they belong. And for those facing off against the Druid, you can now find passage through the thorns by silencing those sites. So Druid, both sides of Druid got changed, and both of them kind of matter. The Tawny one is huge because most of the most oppressive Druid decks, oppressive being used loosely here, I don't think Druid was ever like oppressive, just very strong, use Tawny to great effect because using that spellcaster ability on Tawny, you were able to put cards in your deck that other avatars couldn't because the proximity cost of using them was kind of just too much. I'm looking at things like Disintegrate, Polymorph, they mentioned Lava Flow and Snowball here. Pact with the Devil was always great because you can just sacrifice Tawny. Dream Quest, right? There's a lot of spells that like kind of just want you to have a spellcaster that care about positioning. And when your avatar is your primary spellcaster, a lot of times you don't move a lot depending on what your avatar is. Druid never really needed to move a lot because you just had Tawny who could fly around and be your spellcaster. And so you could just tap for sites with Druid. Now you only get 1 Tawny. And that's like a big deal because that's all you get on Druid's front side. There's nothing else. It's you get Tawny on turn 1 and then like good luck keeping it around. This is a huge nerf because Tawny had the annoying, you would trinket it up, attack for 2, attack for 3, kill things, and like that was crazy, and then you get it back and it was just this never-ending problem. But like, man, only having 1 Tawny, turn 2 Firebolts just kills this thing. Turn 2 Magic Missiles, just a lot of spells. You just kill Tawny early, and then like, what is Druid after that, dude? Like, literally, like, you'd rather be Spellslinger in that case. Like, just having an extra card is better than Tawny. But you do get to flip, right? That is also on Druid's front side, and you get to flip, and you get your Bruin, and they've changed the Druid ability with the, so now it's not nearby sites, it's nearby allied sites have that damage trigger. And that's a big deal too. Not many Druid decks used this to great effect. Some did. And I'll be honest, the play pattern with this Druid deck that used this ability, like with Drums of Doom in particular, you know, you would move up, get onto your opponent's sites, play Drums of Doom, and then they couldn't play any minion without just it dying immediately. That was a toxic play pattern. That needed to go. I'll be honest with you. I hated that. So I don't hate this change. But with this having already taken effect, I mean, it's really brutal now. It was good to deal with tokens because you would move up and then, like, if they were playing, like, a token deck, you would just kind of, like, they could never play their tokens because they would just die immediately. But, yeah, this just kind of feels like, I feel like they could have gone for one of these changes, either give Tawny repeatability. Tawny was the real problem from a competitive standpoint, so this probably could have gone, but then at the same time, this was just toxic. So I don't know. Maybe it's a bit too much that they did. I'll tell you, nobody's playing Druid anymore. Like, the Rainbow Foils Druids that are out there, if you got one, great job, and, you know, congratulations, because no more of those are gonna be handed out for a very long time. So Druid kind of got taken out back. Not much else to really say about it. You get one Tawny, and then you get to flip for Druid. You'll probably be for Bruin, I mean. You'll probably be doing that earlier in the game. Sometimes you would, like, really wait until, like, desperation mode. But, like, you might just do this earlier because you need... well, because you just need, like, you're not getting any other value without Tawny anymore. So you may as well just flip and get your free Royal Bodyguard and your Thorns ability. But you're not going to be able to use it to great effect like you could before. Okay, so this has to do with the striking change. We'll just read this first. But this is a spoiler. We have not actually seen Vampire Bats for Gothic. So, ooh, spoiler drop. A striking change. Classic chase pun. The other major update involves how certain cards interact with sites. These changes likely won't come as a surprise to anyone who has been playing over the past few months. Being able to strike sites is intuitive and allows for much cleaner templating going forward. However, a handful of early cards were printed before this standard fully took root, leading to minor inconsistencies in how they functioned. To match their original design intent, the following cards now have additional text that specifies that these only work against units. And we basically see all of these strike units and cards from Beta and AL that have been really good, except for Blood Ravens, really good these past couple months since the July update. Notably, Lances also go back to working only against units, which is really awesome for Lance, because really none of these cards, like, all of these cards got better. Like, Lance, because they break, you really want to hit a unit with a Lance. You don't want to give up a Lance for just one damage. Being able to trade favorably is, like, really good. So this is, like, big for Lance and then bad for all of these cards. You'll find their updated text listed on Curiosa for clarity. And as always, things are documented on the changelog. So, you know, yeah, this isn't too surprising because we've played, if you're new to Sorcery, you might not even know about how these cards worked before, but this was how they worked before the July rules update, which allowed for striking sites. You used to never be able to strike sites. And so all of these cards in Beta and AL that mention strike damage or, like, healing off strikes, that was always just, like, meant to be for units. They never had to mention units because you could only strike units. Now that you can strike sites after the July update, these cards got super better. Like, Vampire got juiced up. Grim Gisarm became a one-shot machine. Same with Mask. But striking sites is going to be important for some of the cards in Gothic's card pool because they're going to mention striking sites. So in order to revert these cards back to their original design intent, you have to, and to keep the striking sites rule in the game, you have to update these cards as text to say that they are against units. So this is, like, a fine change. Like, this, it's nothing too crazy, controversial, or anything like that. I guess the one big thing with Druid, like, I think a lot of people are probably going to be happy to see Druid changed this way. But the big takeaway for me is that this is a power level errata. There is no like rules thing that got changed. Nothing happened around Druid that made these changes necessary. This is just like Druid is dominating, and we gotta take him out back. We gotta bring him down a peg. And I mean, they did that like 2 pegs, right? Druid is, you know, contested with Spellslinger right now. So these changes, though, the design intent was the issue. And so these are getting updated. And Sorcery has done a lot of changes because of design intent or something of that matter. And so this isn't too crazy, but it is going, like, these are staples in the format right now. And, like, dude, like, have you seen the price of Grim Gisarms recently? Someone was buying these out for like $10 a pop. This card was toilet paper before the July rules update, and then it became $10 a pop. I think now it's like $5. But somebody bought these. Somebody bought probably hundreds of these for like probably starting off at like 50 cents and whatnot, but eventually those things were costing like $5-8, you know, something crazy. So someone is holding a heavy bag of Grim Gisarms, and oh man, he must be so mad right now. I would be so mad, but that is the risk you take. I do feel bad for anyone who bought foil Grims or foil vampires for these changes, because those prices on those did go up. I bought my foil Grims when they were cheap enough, so like I bought them for like $3 still. So I'm not hurting too bad, but I did like the price point that they were at. That's definitely going to go down. And that is pretty much this rules update. It's just a Druid, you know, taking one for the team, and the strike changes getting reverted. But they did say that they updated stuff on the codex, and I'm on the changelog here. And what I really like to see is that, you know, November 2025, cards with updated text now show that updated text immediately when you click on them. And you can like do this. You can look up updated on the codex and see all of the updated cards. And what's notable is that on what's not on this page here is that Saruman Hydra got updated. Hydra was also changed with the July update, and now he's kind of being reverted, but his text is different. He now says immediately heals from damage that doesn't kill it. So this is more about around how you originally played Hydra. But after the July update, it was a very literal meaning of this ability where he was immune to all damage that wasn't lethal, the keyword being lethal. But now like 6 damage kills it. And even it specifies too that like 2 boss trolls, like 2 instances of 3 damage at once will kill it, which some people were telling me was how it was always played, but I never played it that way. I thought you needed 6 damage specifically. So that is, you know, good for the Hydra there. But you can also just see all of these changes if you just look up updated on Curiosa. And I don't know if they had this page specifically before, and that does make me think that they are willing to update cards like this in the future. And that is, I find that to be a positive, because EC has been very hands-off with changing cards and balancing the game for basically its entire life. And they don't want to go too crazy with it. I understand that. I think Druid is going to be very confusing for a lot of new players, right? And that is a concern. I always hate having to show someone Infiltrate for the first time and they don't understand it because it doesn't read how it plays. But pretty much every card game does this to some extent, so it kind of just is what it is. And if we go back to the changelog, Skirmishes of Mu looks like they got an update as well. Or Basic Movement both of these got changed a little. Skirmishes of Mu now, so you can shoot from their start location or their end location, which I think is how most people would have interpreted this. I truthfully never understood these units in the 2 years that I have known them since beta came out. I think before they could only shoot from their end location, but now they can shoot from their start location or their end location, or I mean any location really if they have a movement plus ability, but they only get to shoot once. And another neat thing is that defense is now considered basic movement. I don't think it was before. So that's cool because you could defend with them and get a shot. So you could like defend technically for like 6 with these guys, right? Because they could move to defend and shoot for 3 and then like strike for 3. So you can kind of trade up with them in a way. Very interesting there. That's going to pretty much cover it. Not too many changes, so it should be a quick video, although I did ramble a bit at the end there. So thanks for bearing with me. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you think of the changes down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.